Welcome to Tiny Tales,
where we explore the unique experience
that giving birth is to every woman.
We will hear the personal tales of women in Ghana who will take us on their journeys
to motherhood, from conception to birth, to the first 3 months after the baby is born.
This season is sponsored and co-hosted by Gaia Organic,
your plug for fresh, healthy organic food in Jawolo, Accra.
The country, do you think that we are practicing the best standards here?
I mean, to start off with, I'd like to say that we've come very far, right? Compared to even just several years ago, we've come extremely far in terms of awareness, in terms of education, in terms of people feeling as though it's something we can talk about more and more. But talking about, I guess, best practices from the standpoint of mental health professionals, I think the field is growing, but we're not there yet. I think we all know that we're not there, and we have quite a ways to go. Just even in terms of availability of, just even look at the number of mental health care professionals compared to our population. It's staggering, and so we're looking at things like availability of care, quality of care. We have a council now. That hasn't been in operation for too long, but they are responsible for licensing and sort of governing all mental health professionals in Ghana. So that is one major step when you're talking about best practices, is one major step getting closer to where things need to be, because they are responsible for making sure that everyone who calls themselves a mental health professional in any capacity is actually qualified to do what they're supposed to do. They are responsible for making sure that we are licensed every year. And that is incredibly important. So I think, no, we're not at best practices yet, but I think that there are certain things that are happening and have been happening that are headed in that direction.
I want to say something from a different angle, and what I want to say is that if you grow up in Ghana, or let me just say Africa, there was something where community is very important. Your auntie will make sure you're okay, you've been fed if your mom is not around. Everybody checks on each other. Right now, we have technology, we have WhatsApp. We're getting closer to people that possibly are far away. We might have to walk distances to get to them, but yet we are not even close to people that are near. You see a couple of people sitting and they are all on their phones. Nobody is possibly talking to anybody, but they are communicating with somebody elsewhere. The thing is that when it comes to depression and suicide, it's just a thin line, and you can never see it written on the forehead like, oh, I'm not feeling well, or there was this article that I was working on this week about this guy that committed suicide, Twitch. And I'm like, how? You have a beautiful wife. 3 days ago, you posted anniversary message. Like, everything about your life looked all gloomy. So, what exactly was going on in your head? But it should tell you that people are going through a lot of things. And I'm talking as we human, not just even male or female. There are a lot of things that we process every time, and sometimes all we need is just talk to Stephanie and just listen. Or let's find that one person that will be. There was a time that I didn't have a phone for 3 months, and trust, when I came back on WhatsApp, I don't think anybody missed me. Yet, yet when you have your phone, and every time you think everybody around you is your close friend. We need to be able to get to the point where we connect with humans. That's very, very important because it helps our mental sanity. Thank you.
Do you have anything?
Also, in Denmark, for example, now it's being put out there as well that the Western countries are very good at this. Denmark is categorized as one of the places that has the highest suicide rate, and still we are talking a lot about that we're good at mental health stuff and things like that. And if we're so good at talking about our mental health and stuff, why are so many people so unhappy? And I think here as well, like a lot of times throughout the year. It's not even possible for you to go outside because it's so cold. And I think here it's a really big benefit, as you're
Yeah.
saying as well, that like people they are more in community, and there is such a good possibility for people to actually be open and talking about mental health because the whole environment, the whole way that families are built and stuff creates a very good opportunity to do it. So I think even when it gets to the point where even you take it to the next level, this has the best potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes, please.
I think it's important for us to look at different facets of this and connecting it back to why best practices is important and sort of the pursuit of best practices. Um, let's be very clear. When someone is dealing with something like clinical depression, it's a medical condition. It's an illness, right? There are usually all kinds of biological things going on as well in their brain. And it's interesting that you're talking about the fact that we have community. You're talking about the fact that, well, in Denmark, that might be missing a bit, but they may be closer to best practices from the professional angle. The reality is, with any illness, physical or mental, it needs to be treated wholly, right? And so, supportive social networks, one aspect of it. But I think in this part of the world, when we talk about that, we often forget that there's also the whole medical treatment aspect of it that we often don't have a good handle on. And that's why talking about best practices is important because when you're treating clinical medical depression, right, it goes beyond how much support someone has available to them. That will not heal, right? You need medical attention from a professional. So I think it's working towards getting to the point where we are looking at it wholly and we are sort of applying the same level of priority and importance to everything.